Happy Ash Wednesday. I'm Father Jeff Schooner, the pastor of St. Patrick's Catholic Church in Louisville, Kentucky. And happy Ash Wednesday. As you can tell, we've had a lot of snow, although the sun has come out some. We've had a lot of snow and had to cancel our morning mass and distribution of ashes. We're entering into the season, of course, of Lent. It's a great season, a great time of almsgiving, of fasting, and of prayer. And so today really is the entrance into this 40-day long retreat as a community. And this year as a community, St. Patrick's is focusing on forgiveness, the freedom that comes from forgiveness, the forgiveness that God has given us, each of us through Jesus Christ, and also the forgiveness we're called on to give to one another. The snow reminds me of a story when I was a child. I was in second or third grade and going to St. Helens down off Dixie Highway. We lived on a little street that had not been plowed in a snowstorm, and some friends of mine and I were bored, and so we got out and we started shoveling driveways, and then we started shoveling the street. And the little newspaper in Shively, Kentucky came and they interviewed us, and they put a little picture in the paper. But right before they got there, one of the kids in the neighborhood who hadn't been helping shovel at all ended up coming out and shoveling just for the picture. And he got his picture in the paper. And I was offended by that even as a kid. And I have forgiven him, but I haven't forgotten the incident. Sometimes we think about forgiveness being forgetting. We think about forgiveness as being like everything's okay now. Everything's where it was before the offense happened. Even though that story is a small story, we can kind of get a mistaken idea of what it means for God to forgive us and what it means for us to forgive others. In the season of Lent, we'll be going deep into the nature of forgiveness. We'll be going deep into what it means to open ourselves up to God's image of us, to be able to be who God had made us to be, but also to forgive others as God has forgiven us. This season is a great season of that preparation for Easter, of the great Paschal mystery, the suffering, death, and resurrection of Christ, and the gift of his Holy Spirit that comes to us later at Pentecost. But that Spirit lives within each one of us, and we will be going deep into Christ and the Holy Spirit within to be able to understand more fully the great mystery of mercy and forgiveness. We'll be doing that in a number of ways in our community. It should be a great time as a whole community that will be focusing on this. One of the things that we'll be doing is distributing a book by Father Paul Farron. It's called Freedom and Forgiveness, a fresh look at the sacrament of reconciliation. You can see the title and the image right there. We will be distributing these. We were going to do it today on Ash Wednesday, but I don't know if we'll have the opportunity, but we'll have them this weekend for sure. We have 1,500 copies of this to be able to give to everybody. It's only 84 pages long, and which is a short read, really. You can do it in about the time it takes to watch a basketball game, and it'll be much more worth it. It might be a game changer in your own life. The book is by Father Paul Farron. He is a friend of mine and from seminary days, and he is ordained as a priest for the Diocese of Derry in Ireland. He is the rector of their cathedral, the vocation director, and the director of their catechetical center. He will be joining us on Divine Mercy Sunday, which is the culmination of the octave of Easter, of the 8 days of celebration. It's the Sunday following Easter, and we will have a holy hour at 3 p.m. We'll have a lot of other activities associated with Divine Mercy, but we'll do a holy hour at 3 p.m. and Father Paul will be here as part of that holy hour, and we'll give a presentation on freedom and forgiveness. And so hopefully we'll all have prepared by reading the book, and we'll be there to receive some of his wisdom, his insights, and his great Irish humor as part of that. It'll be good to welcome him to Louisville, Kentucky. We're also going to be focusing our preaching. Deacon Scott, Deacon Mark, Deacon Greg, myself, and Father Chris will be focusing the preaching over the course of Lent on each Sunday on a different aspect of forgiveness. It is a real issue in most of our lives, and we want to make those homilies and the season relevant to how do we come to a point of forgiveness for others, and how do we receive that forgiveness from God. We'll also have really a parish mission that'll be on 3 consecutive Sundays in the afternoon or evening, 5 p.m. I will be doing the presentations on Pathway to Forgiveness. So how do we understand forgiveness? How do we define forgiveness? How do we make it real in our own lives? Was Jesus serious when he said forgive 7 times, 70 times? What does that mean? What's the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation? It's a journey that I've traveled myself, and I hope to be able to share some of those experiences and some of the stories about how to come to forgiveness. It is a great season, a holy season that we're entering into. And so I encourage you, as a member of St. Pat's, or if you're watching this from somewhere else, that you enter into Lent really with a heart that you seek to change, to soften, to allow God to work within, to open us up to his will for us, that we may enter fully into this mystery, this time of prayer and penance and of almsgiving, that we enter into this season more deeply. It can change our lives. It can open our hearts to the truth of God's vision for us, of his love for us, and of his mercy and forgiveness for us. May this be a time when you're blessed. May it be a time when you are transformed. May it be a time for our whole community to know what it means to receive forgiveness and to know what it means to forgive freely. God bless.